his daughters, his wives, and they're both very good. By the way, all the woodworking you see in the home is all original. The only wood you'll see that is not is actually the hallway of the second floor.
Okay.
That is it, which is pretty incredible.
You said the house was built in about a year.
Yes. Father, our 9th president. Benjamin's our 23rd. So that's your only grandfather-grandson combo in presidential history. We don't go into this room. That is the original carpeting in there. So what I find so funny about how the Victorians decorated is if you think this is already either physically a busy space with lots of items or visually, they would have had about 2 to 3 times the amount of items in this room. Change the disc out, and we have hundreds of these discs.
Wow.
Still sounds really good.
It does.
It sounds great.
Would expect it to be more metallic sounding.
Yep. Here's one of his historic discs here. And what I learned basically working here, there is a modern company that still makes these discs. There's only one of them left in the world, so a very strange monopoly on Regina phone discs.
They're metal, right?
And I say it was done in the 70s, but it's a classroom down there. There's some restrooms, kind of a kitchen for the staff. But when he would have had that, it would have been all dirt floor. That would be William Henry Harrison's father, so that's our Benjamin's great-grandfather. He's an original signer of the Declaration of Independence. If you want to see his name, it's right below Thomas Jefferson. Signs it real small and humbly, Ben Harrison. So he gets made fun of a lot for that, but he was probably fighting dysentery issues, but getting pneumonia on top of that, giving a speech in the rain with no coat, along with George Washington at the Continental Congress, was the governor of Virginia at the time, and was also the first man to read the Declaration out loud. So that's all 23 presidents carved into a cane. Harrison was given it to him when he was inaugurated. Washington on top's the only one without a head on the back side of him. And then there are 3 misspellings you can find on that cane as well. So probably most egregious is James Madison turns into James Manderson.
You know, sort of handmade in China then? Is that how that is?
Yeah, isn't that funny, right? You can definitely tell it wasn't 3D printed, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The horn chair, big time. So another example of a White House gift. So 2 or 3 days after he's inaugurated, the famous Texas rancher gives him this chair. So murder trials, even the murder of Nancy Clem, he prosecuted. This table he took to the White House with him, so they didn't have the Oval Office at the time, but he really wasn't a fan of the presidential office. He was, again, kind of a quiet, private person, so there was a smaller room off to the side of his presidential office, and that's where this desk was, and he actually wrote a lot of his legislation on this desk. Brigadier General. It's signed by Abraham Lincoln in the bottom right-hand corner, and in the further right-hand corner, you can see his promotion medal. So this is signed in late March of 1864, and Lincoln would be assassinated in April. So I can't tell you it's the last thing he ever signed, but I can certainly tell you it's one of the last things he ever put pen to paper to. Come on into the kitchen. What's different about this room than the rest of them?
Pretty plain.
Pretty plain, and a lot of light. So this lets you know this room has the least amount of original artifacts. So there are a couple of original things, like I said, the table and chairs here. That's his grandson's high chair, and it's silver plaid. We talk about a high chair there.
Imagine the noise a little kid could make banging
Oh
on
my
there.
gosh, yeah, especially if you give him a metal cup to go with it.
Yeah.
It's funny you didn't realize how dark these houses were.
Oh my goodness, yeah. And keep in mind, they would have never kept it this dark. That is purely for us and to save the artifacts. So,
Was this something that belonged to the house, or she just
yep, it was something that they had in storage.
Okay.
So China. So I mentioned, may not have been in here yet, she is the first woman to design her own china. She starts the tradition of each administration having their own china.
Very pretty.
So he was all of 5'6".
I guess these probably wouldn't be at the cone anymore at the height.
No one ever talks about that. He really did some amazing things. You have to do them to keep up the house. The workers signed the wall. I mean, dating all the way back to like the 1870s. So, because keep in mind this was their 4th home in Indianapolis, so he was a grown man by the time they moved here. Had possums, he had a pet goat, dogs, cats, birds, something like that. Or we're just stomping around a lot as we come through here. There we go.
Pretty.
So this is actually the oldest piece of furniture in the home, and surprisingly it is a part of that 20% the president did not own. So this was the wealthiest neighborhood in the entire state, but much more in their bedrooms. rooms.
Okay. I just wondered if you had to learn what place might have been in the furniture.
Not exactly, because again, we had the second wife to tell us where everything went. Never got to have a child. It was a very important thing for her. And again, yeah, at 38, she had, and that I think you could say is potentially dangerous in 2022 to have a child at that age, let alone in 1897. The idyllic version. After Lincoln, everyone wanted the log cabin start, and we have this here because this is what it really would have looked like.
You know, such a history too. It wasn't like he was born in a log cabin.
Right, but it's